Hi everybody, I'm Allison, and for today's video I wanted to do the genetic engineering of wheat. I decided to do wheat because for the first assignment with the essay I also did wheat, and I thought that it would be beneficial to add to what I've already learned and to add to what is necessary for today's video. Wheat has become a daily part of our lives and contributes to a lot of our nutrition. Therefore, I feel like it's important to know how it affects us being a GMO product. And not only that, but how it affects us globally versus just at a national level. Today, I would like to discuss the genetic modifications of wheat, the positive and negative effects that it has on us, the genes and its patents, and I would also like to discuss my opinions of everything that I've learned so far. First, I would like to talk about the genetic engineering of wheat. Wheat was initially changed due to its own natural causes of crossbreeding between two different types of wheat. Today, the biggest change between a genetically created wheat and a natural wheat is the size of the seed. Over the last 70 years, the breeding of wheat has capitalized. Therefore, no crop today is the same as wheat's thousands of years ago. Wheat is so important because it is our daily nutritional value. It's the biggest thing that contributes to our daily nutrition, therefore making it important to grow at a rapid rate. According to the Wheat Society, in an article they wrote called The Improvement of Wheat, there are two methods to breeding different types of wheat. The first one is the traditional method of crossbreeding, and this is to combine genes from complementary wheat plant parents to produce new genetic combinations, not necessarily new genes in the offspring. According to them, this also could contribute to potential disease and insect resistance relative to the parents. And the second method is to introduce genes to ancestral or species related to wheat. This isn't considered a genetic engineering, more so the crossbreeding of genes. It is said that between now and 2040, the population can increase to 66% higher, and wheat is not the only crop that is necessary to survival, and it's not the only one that is going to have modifications in order to keep up with the growing population. However, according to that same article on wheat improvement by the Wheat Society, genetic modified wheat has not been developed yet. Also, according to another article on the trending wheat, it's been a struggle for biotechnology to figure out how to produce genetically modified wheat, making it readily available for consumers. The article states that if wheat was genetically modified, a positive impact would be that there would be enough wheat consumed in a timely manner, or I should say produced in a timely manner, that it would be enough for consumers to have enough to sustain them. The amount of people on the earth and the amount of people who consume wheat makes it hard for wheat growers to keep up with the amount needed. Therefore, this would be a positive impact if it was a genetically modified crop. Negative impacts of genetically modified crops, according to our lectures, would be that we don't know how it will impact us in the long term. We don't know the environmental effects or allergy effects, especially with wheat. So many people have gluten allergies and different allergies to wheat, and we don't know how this will impact people in the future as far as allergies or even the environment, the mass production of genetically modified crops. In lecture, we learned of gene patents and how Monsanto was suing farmers for supposedly stealing their gene. Well, this is no different than the case of wheat. Monsanto recently received a patent for wheat in India. They claim that it would produce better dough to make bread and biscuits. However, farmers are in India or here, and gene scientists believe that Monsanto is really stealing from the farmers, and that centuries of them making this heritage wheat of theirs in order to make profit to benefit themselves. Monsanto is taking over the crops in India as they were recently approved for the patent, and essentially taken away from the farmers who have produced this wheat over thousands and centuries in their country. In conclusion, genetically modified wheat is still unclear whether or not it can be modified. However, it does have genetic engineering that scientists have done in order to improve the genes, but not necessarily change them. Positive effects could be the growth in the production of wheat in order to sustain society. And negative effects are the unknowns, whether it does affect the environment or allergies, or how it affects us when we consume them. Genetic patents are also an issue, not only for wheat, but for very many crops, due to Monsanto trying to, in a way, create a monopoly of its seeds and its production of goods in order to seek its own benefit as for crops and profit. Lastly, we can discuss my opinion on everything. So far from what I've learned about genetic modification, not only in wheat, but in general, I feel that for the most part, if they are environmental safely and won't impact us in the future, then I think that they're okay to use, because as the population grows, the amount of food needed for each person to have to sustain enough nutrition is going to increase, and traditional methods of farming won't work because it does take longer. However, with that being said, I know that as an American who sometimes wastes a good amount of food and knowing other people do the same thing, I think that if we all took accountability for the amount of food we wasted, we wouldn't have the need as much for genetically modified foods to produce more of them so that we do have a more sustainable life, because the food we're wasting could go to somebody else that needs the food in order to survive just like we do. There are so many unknowns to genetically modified food that it's hard to say that they're beneficial in the long term. Once the unknowns have answers, I feel that our opinions could be based off more information versus what could be beneficial. If wheat was genetically modified, a beneficial part of it would be to have enough food to sustain our life. But also, we don't know that the environmental impact it will have. And I feel like that trumps a lot of things, because our environment is pretty important, not only for us but for future generations in order for them to survive. And I don't want to ruin what limited natural resources we have now by overproducing foods that we won't necessarily need to, just because we are so wasteful and go through a lot more foods than we really should. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I hope future videos are even better than the first one. Good luck, everybody.